So I am going to explain kind of what the King of Sarkaz is, what he do, and a bit of previous and current King of Sarkaz. Hope you enjoy. King of Sarkaz is basically what it sounds like. Basically the figurehead or the leader of the entire race. In Sarkaz tradition, the title is not inherited like it may sound like. Instead, anyone could become the next King of Sarkaz when the previous one is dead. It could be anyone, pure-blooded Sarkaz noble, mixed-blooded Sarkaz, academic scholar, or even a non-Sarkaz could become King of Sarkaz, which I will kind of get back to later. But the sole symbol that marks the true king is the Black Crown, or Civilite Eterna, a relic passed down from the Far Chaser after his return from the Silver Mountains. King of Sarkaz is not just an ordinary king either. In Sarkaz eschatology, they are a messianic figure who can pacify the lamentation of the collective Sarkaz's dead souls from their everlasting suffering cursed by the first Originiums. Through the power of the Black Crown, they can read through past memories and magnify their emotions to pacify the myriad souls, which in some cases they can even cast Originium art amplified by the crown, like prophecies that can affect an entire bloodline. Though the bearer of the crown experiences severe backlash, like experiencing drastic personality changes, described as being extremely painful and bitter, as the sheer volume of memories within the crown threaten to drown them. In multiple Sarkaz chronicles, most kings die prematurely, be it by tragedy, betrayal, or descent into madness. Therefore, only a handful of kings have managed to overcome the crown's power to become notable leaders, and even fewer were capable of vowing to use the power of the crown to forever liberate the Sarkaz from their inescapable curse afflicted by the first Originium. Now, before we go to the first kings of Sarkaz, I will just mention some notable people that was King of Sarkaz or is in some way kind of related. I might also say the names wrong. First we got Quilon, also known as the Errant Overlord. He was one of the 3 Sage Kings and founder of the Sarkaz Royal Court. He committed suicide after defeating those who betrayed him and his followers during their exodus east. Then we got Sartustarj, also known as the King of Usurping Kings, who possessed the power of Civilite Eterna, despite remaining distant to the Royal Court. He has unique arts that allow his soul to possess his descendants, leading to the founding of the Confessari. Next up is Theresa, the previous King of Sarkaz, prior to her assassination during the Civil War of Castle, which happens in the Babel event story. She passed on Civilite Eterna to Amia shortly before her first death. And lastly, we got Amia, the incumbent King of Sarkaz who succeeded Theresa and the first king to not be Sarkaz, as kind of mentioned earlier, but a Carter's bunny instead. Her position is widely unrecognized, especially by the Revenants. Now for the 4 first kings of Sarkaz. I will try to talk about the most important things about them, or the most interesting things, if that makes sense, while also not making it too long or short. So the first king of Sarkaz in history was Far Chaser, the king of Tekaz, also responsible for multiple important events that molded civilization to what it is today on Terra. and he acquired both the first originium that molded the Sarkaz into the image of man, and he also got the black crown that granted the power of the king of Sarkaz. Throughout all his thousands of years of rule, Archaecer and his tribesmen set up the first Casadalian civilization around the region of the Silver Mountains, and there his kingdom prospered after uniting other Sarkaz tribes, gifting them humanity. The second king of Sarkaz is Guldul, the city maker, born 2000 years after the Farchaser and was remembered as one of the 3 sage kings of Sarkaz. Guldul was a gargoyle whose ancestors once constructed a marvelous arched garden during the first Casdel era. Guldul befriended Balor Saka and Quilon, who rescued him from the blades of an attacking Elder general, and together they sought to find a safe refuge for the surviving Sarkaz by exploring a desolate, unexplored region of Terra called Sorrow's Ground and building a new home. The third king of Sarkaz is Balor Saka, the Sun Wielder, and one of these 3 sage kings of Sarkaz alongside Guldul and Quilon. As mentioned earlier, he was formerly chieftain of the Condemner clan, the tribe of Diablo that accepted refugees from other tribes. During a battle against an invasive elder, Balor Saka aided Guldul together with Quilon, and together they formed a well-established trio. As the military leader of Guldul's kingdom and the leader of the still radical Condemner clan, he maintained aggressive views on expansion and a defensive through offense. Despite their long friendship, Balor Saka grew envious of Guldul's power and enraged that Guldul refused to establish an army to wage war against the Elders. And after numerous ideological clashes, an incident involving Caprenai secretly living within their kingdom caused a motion to boil over, and a duel broke out between the two, leading to the murder of Guldul and Balor Saka gaining the crown. During his reign, Balor Saka actively plundered the settlements of the ancients and elders in line with his radical revenge-driven views. These raids only worsened the world's perception of the Sarkaz. Fourth king of Sarkaz is Yllis, and was Theresa's predecessor, and despite wielding the power of the Black Crown, he was a puppet king controlled by the Sarkaz royal court. He wasn't detrimental to the Sarkaz, yet he did not achieve anything noteworthy after becoming king. He received neither royalty nor betrayal from the royal court and his subjects. The greatest accomplishment he made was establishing Theresa and the Theresis as his royal servants, and with their legacies overshadowing him utterly. Before being anointed as king, he was an ordinary carpenter and a caster who wanted to use his arts for good. He had multiple idealistic plans to prepare Castle for the Industrial Revolution at the dawn of the Crystal Age. However, when he received the crown, his character changed drastically. He became less active and rarely spoke. He was just sitting there upon his throne in silence. And even though he could withstand the power of the Black Crown, enabling him to listen to the mourning wails of the myriad souls, he became desperate and crushed by the revelation that his castle would be destroyed and he would die in war. In winter of 898, the Victorian Leithanian Gaulish Coalition Alliance began their crusade against the castle to overthrow King Yllis, and he was forced to the front line by the royal court to lead the Casdelian army, and it was there he met his death, amidst the battle at Calcit's hand, and was forgotten, buried under a mountain of corpses. However, Yllis's death preluded the rise of the 6 heroes, who made the great sacrifices to defend their people at the cost of Casdel.